Today's Jessie Tree story is all about a young woman called Ruth. Ruth wasn't from Israel, but she was married to an Israelite. Ruth was a very, very kind person, but her life was quite hard. God, however, looked after Ruth, and Ruth looked after other people, and God thought Ruth was, well, just wonderful. So he made her part of his family. Emma is going to tell us Ruth's story.
After the people of God had travelled over the river Jordan into the promised land, they filled the land. Some of them began to live in Bethlehem. Many years passed, when a time came when there was no rain, and the wheat didn't grow. So some of the people crossed the river Jordan to live in the land of Moab. Naomi, her husband, and her 2 sons were among those who went. They were very happy in their new land, until one day Naomi's husband died. This was very sad. Later, her 2 sons married young women of Moab. Their names were Orpah and Ruth. When these husbands died, Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah were widows together. Naomi didn't know what to do, so she decided to travel back over the desert to her family in Bethlehem. Orpah went to live with her mother in Moab, but Ruth stayed with Naomi. She said, "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." So Naomi and Ruth travelled back to Bethlehem, where they found a small place to live. They went out into the nearby fields to collect grain after the harvest. People let them do this because they were widows. One of the fields was owned by a man called Boaz, a rich man. He liked Ruth and how she worked hard and looked after Naomi. Eventually, they got married and had a son. Now Ruth was a mother and Naomi a grandmother, and she could hold her grandson on her lap. When the young lad grew up, he had a son, Jesse. And Jesse had many sons. One of Jesse's sons became the great King David. He was the great-grandson of Ruth.
Ruth was just amazing, wasn't she? She looked after people whose way of life was very different from her own. She looked after people who were very different from herself. And God looked after Ruth when Boaz married her after he'd seen her picking up grains of corn and putting them into a basket. So today's symbol for our Jessie tree is a basket. See you again tomorrow for another Jessie tree story. Goodbye.